G'day watchers, and welcome back to the channel to this Battle Royale, this three-way comparison which I haven't done before. So this is going to be a comparison between I suppose entry level or budget to mid-range Rolex Submariner homage watches. This video has been requested, particularly ever since I reviewed the Phoibos Great White. And I've gotten these three together again to do this three-way comparison of these homage watches. We got on the left the Invicta Pro Diver 40mm, in this case represented by the 8926, an American company. Yes, it is a Japanese movement and it's made in China most certainly, but it's American owned. In the middle, of course, we have the Phoibos Great White, which I reviewed earlier, and really it's garnered a lot of attention. I argued that this may be the best value Submariner homage for around the 250 mark. That is arguable, and I think this really puts a great case forward. So it's gotten quite a bit of discussion there, the Phoibos Great White. And on the very right we have the Steinhart, and in this case represented by an Ocean Vintage Military. This homages a vintage military Rolex. Ideally, I may have liked to get a Steinhart Ocean 1 ceramic, ideally. I don't know anyone with that. That one more closely homages the same Rolex, 116610 that these other two watches homages. But, this is the closest I can get. Thank you again, Graham, for making this available for this comparison. Okay, so what we have are three very obviously Rolex sub homages, American, Chinese owned, and then German brand. They're all dive watches. They all have 316L steel, all have screw-in case backs and crowns, and at least 200-meter water resistant. This one is 200, the other two, the Phoibos and the Steinhart, are 300 meters. They all have unidirectional dive bezels and various level quality of lume. So who will take it all? The American, the Chinese, or the German? Here we go, three different countries here. Let's go through it and see what the scores are. Sorry, I've already reviewed the top one. On caliber, I don't think this is controversial at all. So the Invicta has the Seiko NH35 in here. A very well-known movement, a widely used movement, but I think it falls behind slightly. This one's the Miyota 9015. It is a 28,800 beats per hour movement, and on here is the is an ETA 2824-2, and in this case it is Elabore grade. It is a higher grade. It is decorated and it is tuned to higher accuracy than the standard grade, and this one certainly does perform within the plus or minus 7 seconds per day stipulation. So this one is the most accurate tuned one. This one doesn't do too badly at all, and this one is quite variable in performance as far as sitting in Invicta Pro Divers goes. So I think clearly there's a step up in movement caliber to the Phoibos, and then another step up to the Elabore ETA movement in the Steinhart here. So I don't think very controversial at all. 7, 8, and 9 is what I've given. All right, let's move up. Design. So I guess these are all taken from the Rolex sub feel. The Invicta, however, does have a fairly basic design. It's got clearly the lightest feeling, I guess the cheapest bracelet wise. It's got a fairly basic execution, very good at its price point. We're talking about sub 80 USD here. For what you pay, it is excellent, but for what you get, you're getting a more basic design. I think the Phoibos and the Steinhart are better executed. Clearly, I think just a little bit more thought going into how that bezel is formed. The crafting of the lugs there. But I do think the Steinhart does take the edge a bit. There's just a little bit more thought going into the whole thing. That you feel, the crafting of the lugs. If you can see the bracelet, there's an extra link there that just helps the bracelet sit a little bit more closely to the wrist, as opposed to, you know, I'll just contrast it to a more typical bracelet. You know, that's a solid piece there. You know, it sits pretty good, but I think the Steinhart just adds one level of thought there. And then the bezel, just the way they've crafted the shape, it is the easiest to use. I think the way they've done that coin edge there. So I've given 7 each to the Phoibos and the Invicta. Arguably, maybe you knock another point off the Invicta, but I think the Steinhart is the best on the basic design here. 7, 7, and 8. Quality. Okay. So again, I do think the Invicta lags behind in what you get. What they've put out is a mineral glass. You know, you don't expect anything more for 80 USD. You know, it's got a display case back, but it's not as well crafted, I think, overall. You know, and the bracelet does feel light. It feels light. You know, I have questioned whether it is actually 316L steel. I know the case is. I'm not sure whether the bracelet is. It just feels somewhat light. I think the Phoibos and the Steinhart do better in terms of quality. You know, I think the Phoibos is very good. They've put out, you know, various quality materials. I've gone into detail. You know, I mean, if you look at the finishing on here, you know, they've crafted and engraved that case back nicely. The bracelet is arguably, you know, gives the Steinhart a run for money. Certainly the clasp is the best one. It's got that button release. It's the best feeling clasp, and the bracelet quality is not too bad either. You know, I think overall, you know, this is definitely a step up from the Invicta. But I would say, fit and finish wise, you know, this one definitely takes it a step up. You know, just the feel in hand is excellent. You know, for a sub 500 USD Swiss made watch, this is excellent. You know, and just to point out different things as well, you know, they do put in a screw link bracelet there. Yes, this clasp is not as good as the Phoibos, I don't think, but you know, just the various things that they've put in, just the way that they've, you know, just if you just look at the crafting, the finishing, I think this is definitely in hand. I have to give a nod to the Steinhart. So, you know, you kind of get what you pay for. You know, this is close to 500. This is about the 250 mark, 279 on the website usually. This is 80. Well, 7, 8, and 9 is what I've given, and it's kind of what you pay for. You get what you pay for. Next up, style. I'm not going to quibble about this. It is all borrowed from this Rolex Sub. You know, it is completely derived. I've given 8 to all of them. I guess you can argue whether you give 7 because it is derived or less. I don't think it's different. They are all stylish. You know, even the Invicta, you know, the way they've done it is not bad at all for 80 USD. It carries the style well. They all have the same look. I'm not going to separate it on style. Okay, performance-wise, as dive watches meant to be, I think clearly the Invicta lags behind. It is 200 meters. It is got, I don't know what the loom problem is with Invicta. They have very bad loom. It just doesn't perform very well at all. And I've complained about this in my reviews numerous times. It has mineral glass, whereas these two have sapphire. They have 300 meters. They both have the same C1 Superluminova, which I think works very similarly. I can't separate them. None of these watches have dive extensions. So I think I have to give the Invicta a point off. I've given 8 each to the Steinhart and the Phoibos. All right, versatility. These are dive watches. They are quiet dive watches, you know, in black. This one has a gray dial. I think they're versatile to the same context. You can wear them with, you know, a work shirt with a tie, and I have worn all of these at work where I wear a tie, and you can equally wear this in much more casual circumstances. I think 8 across the board, again, a par across the board for versatility. All right, next up, let's go to durability. So again, I think I have to knock a point off the Invicta because of the material shortages. I mean, these two have sapphire. The Steinhart Ocean one does come with a ceramic bezel. This Ocean Vintage Military comes with a steel bezel. not quite up to the level of the ceramic that the Phoibos puts out, you know, but I think these two feel just as durable. You know, in terms of the amount of steel in here, if weight is a measure, well, this one certainly falls slightly short. This is 135 grams, right? It does feel that you're getting a little bit less for this. This is 165-ish grams, and this one is 175. I can perceptibly feel the difference on the wrist and in hand between these two in terms of the weight. But you know, clearly these two are more substantial watches than the Invicta. I've given 8 each to the Steinhart and the Phoibos. I've given 7 to the Invicta for durability class. All right, value. Now look, I think these are all fantastic value watches. You know, $80 for a Japanese movement steel watch, which is finished, you know, as good as you can expect for 80 bucks. You know, Invicta represents excellent value. I think without a doubt, you're getting a lot for 80. Similarly, Steinhart, you know, it is an Eto movement. It is Elabore grade. You're getting, you know, sapphire, getting Swiss made watch, you know, that it qualifies for Swiss made, and it says so on the dial there, you know, super luminova, what have you. I think this also represents excellent value, you know, and I've said that in my reviews of Steinhart watches. But I think I have to give the cake here to the Phoibos, you know, for $279 and slightly cheaper if it's on sale, you know, for a 28800 beats per hour movement, a Miyota, as well regulated as it is, for sapphire, for ceramic bezel, you know, for, you know, a clasp, which, you know, is not bad with the triple release with the button security, you know, the crafting that you're getting here. I think this is fantastic and nearly unbeatable. You know, people have told me about the Tissot dive watch, which is also an homage, which is slightly cheaper than this, I think, by default. I haven't got my hands on that. I think this is excellent and arguably one of the best value watches out there in terms of, you know, sub-homages there. So, you know, I've given 10 out of 10. I've just been astounded by the value of the Phoibos, but these are all excellent. 9 and 9 for the Steinhart and the Invicta also. Okay, brand. Now, none of these are, you know, top brands. They're not Rolex, they're not Omega, heck, they're not even Tissot, but you know, they are what they are. Invicta has their issues. I've talked about this before. Steinhart is relatively new. It is only a 21st century brand, but it's been around for a few years now, and I think they really do their best to put out a very good product and very good value for money. Phoibos is the newest one. It is, you know, probably a year or just over that old, so it's got no track record, but I really do think they are doing their best to put the, you know, really a cutting edge product out, pushing the boundaries for value. I look forward to what else they come up with. I really do. But, you know, they are the newest. They are the baby. I've given them the lowest mark, 6 out of 10 for Phoibos. I've modified this slightly from my previous scores, 7 each for Invicta and Steinhart. These are not cutting edge brands. They're not the biggest names by any means, but they, you know, they are what they are. Okay, and lastly, X Factor. I haven't separated it. Most of the X Factor from these watches comes from rubbing off the Rolex Sub. I think in terms of what they bring, I think they all bring different propositions to the table. You know, I think they push limits on the price point. You know, they're nearly incomparable for where they are in, you know, in the 200 to 300 range, in the sub 100 range, in the 400 to 500 range. Very difficult to beat these pieces for what they offer. So I've given 8 for X Factor. I haven't separated them in terms of that category. Okay, so what are the totals? I think if you look at the numbers, you kind of get the feel of who wins. Okay, there we go. 75 for Invicta, 79 for Phoibos, and then Steinhart taking it 82. So in summary, 3 fantastic value dive watches, different origins and backgrounds, but all obviously homaging the Rolex Sub. Invicta, I think, lags behind on all the differential categories. Style and X factor are equal across the brands, but I think Invicta otherwise lags behind, as I've explained there. You know, the Phoibos, I think, matches the Steinhart on performance, durability, and really stands out on value, but the German brand Steinhart takes it out on movement, on design subtleties, and overall fit and finish. So there we have it, guys. Let me know what you think about this comparison. This has been quite exciting to do, and hopefully it's appreciated because people have been asking for this. Guys, thank you for watching. If you appreciate my videos, do consider subscribing. I'm learning new things about horology all the time, and I share it right here on the channel, aiming to be unbiased and objective always. Guys, thank you, and as always, I will see you next time.